for the occasion, because this is the way I dressed. It's kind of casual, right? And the weather's been hot, so whatever. And I want you to imagine that I'm going to have to sit here facing you, so it's different. I'm sitting here facing my desk with the computer, and I'm reading this off a computer screen. And I didn't bring the computer with me, but I did print out some things. Some of the things I learned are just earth-shaking, and they're so simple. And I want to say it up front so you get the message, and then I'll give you some examples of it. When in doubt, put it in dialogue. And the reason we're going to go over right now. That's not the same sentence twice, because I have to put one of these here. If that's the message you want to get across, and you don't put it in dialogue form, you'll say something like this. Well, Arnold, he was confused. He wasn't sure, or he was sleepy, or he was whatever. And he sounded like he didn't know whether he was home or not. That's a boatload of words. How do you say that sentence? And I didn't say how do you say those words, because there's this thing at the end. How do you include that in your message if all you're doing is dialogue? Henry?
I'm home?
Yeah. Isn't that simple? I cut all those words out. Get rid of the wordy words. I used to tell my girls that at St. Francis all the time on their essays. Cut the wordy words. Nylene?
I'm home.
That's right. I'm Odysseus, and I've been fighting all these, earth-shaking journey that I've been on. Haven't seen my wife for however long, and now I'm home. And that's the way I say it. Cuts out a lot of words. Say it in dialogue form, because dialogue always means emotional content. Dialogue is always bulging with emotion. There's always this constantly shifting tapestry of emotion. And it isn't true when we deal with narration. Narration is the great sin of speakers. If I tell you in the words of somebody else, it's not narration if it's dialogue, if somebody else is saying it. Because now, it just all of a sudden becomes much more exciting. Now, when I did this, of course, I'm sitting at my computer. Oh, and this is the combat veteran. I have actually retired the Scotch tape because it's not going to be used anymore. And I would put it in the door frame so that when my wife comes home, she knows. And I really did go over it. Those tapes couldn't be more than 80 minutes. And I screwed it up, so I had to do it a couple of times. Some things needed to be recorded. Some sections needed to be broken up because it was too long to fit the one, and I couldn't put it somewhere else, whatever. And it's real easy to make those kinds of mistakes. Now I want to give you a few examples of how and here's another mistake I made. I recorded about 32 minutes one day, and then went to play it back, and I forgot to do that because it was off. No. So I get all dolly birded up. I'm ready to go, and my little machine, $100 worth, $37 worth. Plug that in here, turn it on, hit the little record button, wait 3 seconds, and then start. And when I end, I wait 3 seconds and stop when I finish. So what I have to say is bookended by roughly 3 seconds, both beginning and end of each tape. And sometimes vocal variety is real easy. Tom and Nancy lived on a farm about 2 miles from us when Abe was born. I recollect Tom coming over to our house one cold morning in February and saying kind of slow, "Nancy's got a boy baby." Mother got a, oh, by the way, close your eyes, because all you're getting is the sound. You're not looking, aren't you? Mother got all flustered and hurried up her work to go over and look after the little fella, but I didn't have nothing to wait for, so I cut and run the whole 2 miles to see my new cousin. You bet I was tickled to death. Babies wasn't as common as blackberries in the woods at Kentucky. Mother come over and washed them and put a yellow flannen petticoat on them and cooked some dried berries and wild honey for Nancy and slicked things up and went home. And that's all the nursing either of them got. I rolled up in a barskin and slept by the fireplace that night so as I could see the little fellow when he cried and Tom had to get up and tend to him. Nancy let me hold him pretty soon. Folks often ask me if Abe was a good-looking baby. Well, now, he looked just like any other baby at first, like red cherry pulp squeezed dry. And he didn't improve none as he growed older. Abe never was much for looks. I recollect how Tom joked about Abe's long legs when he was toddling around that cabin. He growed out of his clothes faster than Nancy could make them. And so on. So sometimes you make it come alive by doing the voice. It's just the voice, because those words need help. The famous slave Frederick Douglass was invited to the White House reception after Lincoln's second inaugural address. Douglass says that after entering the reception room, quote, recognizing me even before I reached him, the president exclaimed so that all about him could hear him, "Here comes my friend Douglass." Taking me by the hand, he said, "I'm glad to see you. I saw you in the crowd today listening to my inaugural address. How did you like it?" I said, "Mr. Lincoln, I must not detain you with my poor opinion when there are thousands waiting to shake hands with you." "No, no, Douglas. You must stop a little. There is no man in the country whose opinion I value more than yours. I want to know what you thought of it." I replied, "Mr. Lincoln, that was a sacred effort." That's dialogue between two people, and there are two different emotional states for each one. And when I read the last line about sacred effort, I leaned forward. Make sense? You can't see it. I'm hoping this fancy Dan equipment that I have will pick it up. I'm not Morgan Freeman. I'm not getting paid $1 bazillion to read something for, the Disney Channel. I haven't got fancy equipment with sound engineers. And I can't go and then cut it out, because that's not going to happen. I just hope what I do picks it up. And I did this for this little story. It's only 3 lines long. Lincoln told the following story. At one point in the Civil War, Secretary Stanton was traveling upriver in North Carolina when a federal picket yelled out, "What are you carrying?" The answer came back, "Secretary of War and Major General Foster." The answer came back to that, "We got enough Major Generals here. How about bringing us some hardtack?" And the reason why, I think we're talking hardcore civilians wearing uniforms, right? Because that's what a civilian would say. And that certainly is in keeping with Lincoln's personality. Then I had a whole bunch of these little toy things in a section called, oh, am I finished? You've got a red card, have you?
You're close.
Oh,
Countdown.
I better stop. See me later. Thanks. I hope you picked up something from that. Sorry.